That's the way to open up a series at Washington as we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by our friends at Cure Auto Insurance. 10-1 Phillies. Ricky Pitalico. I'm Michael Barkan. In a moment, Ruben Amaro Jr. from D.C. Ricky Bo, I said while we were watching the game, what I liked about this one, not only did they get 7 runs in the third, but many times you would see this Phillies team sit back on its laurels and maybe watch the other team creep back in. 2 more in the fourth, and then Munoz with a capper later.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that this team has started to do a little bit more consistently is that when they get on top, they don't stop there. You kind of try to keep punching. I mean, it's like a piñata. You break it a little bit at first. You got to keep going until you break the whole thing. And I will say this much. I think the Nationals quit in this game. We're watching the game and Bryce Harper hits that ground ball late in the ball game. Bryce kind of, I thought, was like, come on, get the double play and we'll move on with the ball game. They couldn't even turn the double play. And Cesar, I mean, huge error in that third inning. And it turned into, okay, you're going to make a mistake. We are going to bury you for it. That to me is the best part of the game. They make one mistake on you and you make them pay for 7 runs.
Yep. Let's go down to D.C., check in with Ruben Amaro Jr., call tonight's game with Tom McCarthy. Ruben, the other part of this wonderful evening for the Phillies is Zack Wheeler gets another win under his belt, sees his ERA go down to, what do we got now, 2.69 for Wheeler, and he just continues to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Zack Wheeler's spectacular, and when you get that kind of run support, obviously, it makes the life a lot easier. But if you watch him pitch, he continues to be more and more efficient. I love the way he goes about his business. He's not messing around. He's not trying to strike guys out necessarily. He's just trying to get quick, efficient outs. And that's like the maturity that I see out of Zack Wheeler. That's pretty astounding. He used to be a guy who likes to try to, punch some guys out. But that's not what he's doing now. He's trying to preserve himself. He's trying to get the win, and he's trying to do it efficiently, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Ruben, Patrick Corbin, I mean, this is a guy that the Phillies were after years ago. And now all of a sudden, I mean, he's throwing a lot of doo-doo up there now.
Yeah, you know what? He had a pretty good fastball. He's up to like 92, 93 miles an hour, and he could command his fastball and his sinker. His changeup was actually not too bad. But his slider has really become a pitch that hitters just don't even offer at anymore. He doesn't throw it for strikes. It used to be very sharp. In fact, he had a slider and a curveball at one point when I was watching him in 2019. He just doesn't have the feel for the pitch, and it obviously makes him a very different pitcher than he used to be. He used to be able to throw that slider for a strike, and then early in the count, and then late in the count, and he'd make those right-handed hitters bite at that slider late. And he's just not able to do that anymore. He was bitten by you didn't get a whole lot of support. Obviously, you got to get an out after that error, and you got to support your defense too. But the Phillies jumped on him, and he made a lot of mistakes with that slider, and he paid.
Yeah, let's get back to the Phillies. Obviously, we see what happens offensively. It was very good. You go deeper into the ball game, and you bring in Jose Alvarado late in the ball game. You made a great point. He's got to quicken up his tempo out there on the mound, or else the guys are going to fall asleep behind him because he does throw a lot of pitches, because he does throw a lot of balls. Do you think this is something that maybe could help him go? I mean, I will tell you this much. If I was going into a 10-1 game, I know where I stand on the tree of relievers, and it's not very high up. I mean, what do you think his attitude was going into this game?
Well, I think he's probably thinking he's got to try to straighten himself out. I mean, the numbers don't lie. He hasn't pitched very well this year. And that's the reason why he went down. I mean, they try to work on some things to get him straightened out, to get his mechanics together. There's no question about his arm strength and the stuff that he has overall. But he's going to have to figure out how to throw more consistent strikes to be a viable person in this bullpen. And whether it's in a 10-1 game or it's a 1-1 game, he's going to have to try to straighten it out some way or another. And not the worst time for Rob Thomson to bring him in there to give him the opportunity to do that. I think you're right. I think he's got to speed up his tempo. I think that'll take some of his mind out of it. I think sometimes we overthink this game a little bit. Sometimes you got to dumb it down. And I think it's one of those situations where if he just gets on that mound and fires and just lets his stuff work, I think that he'll have a lot more success. It was nice to see him get out of the inning after being a little erratic, and he ended up making some pitches, getting a couple of punch-outs.
Ricky Bo, before we get to Rob Thomson in the clubhouse, talk a little bit about the manager. I had someone that we both know, a friend of ours who will remain nameless, who said, was it the manager change? And I said, well, that's a little simplified, but the fact of the matter is they're playing for this guy, and they weren't for Girardi.
I think they've gotten back to basics. And it sounds ridiculous at Major League Baseball at that level. But I think Rob Thomson brings one thing to the game. He's a baseball mind. He's a baseball guy. You ask the players, they'll give you that same answer. And you listen. If you listen to the players, listen to their interviews, listen to certain things. You just have to listen. And you'll hear them say, I tried to get on top of the baseball, not under the baseball that we've heard for a long period of time. You'll hear them say, well, Rob told us to do this. He's been around a long time. I think there's a trust there. I think there's something to be said for somebody that's been around the game a long time, has seen a lot of the game, and can bring that to the younger players or to even like star players, because it's been working at this point in time.
Yeah, as we listen to him now, imagine him coming up to you and giving you a few pointers. It sounds like he just has a great way about him, and his message is easy to take, and that's key as well. Rob Thomson, post-game.
Is that kind of what you have to do when they leave the door open like that? You got to bounce.
Yeah, I mean, we took advantage of a couple of miscues, but we swung the bats good. Again, Schwarber with a big night, but everybody in the lineup had a hit, I believe. 11 hits, 3 walks, ran the bases well. Harper goes first to third on the left fielder, and JT gets the infield single with 2 out, and that, scores a run. And those are the little things that you try to do to beat clubs. And it's good to win the first one, sets the tone for the series. And, Wheeler was great. We got Kelly in the game, which was good, his first major league outing. Alvarado looked a little better than he did the other night, so it was good. All around, it was a good night.
Like one of the more important things that comes out of it is that maybe Castellanos is feeling a little better about where he is.
A couple of hits and a walk, The ball he hit to left center looked like him, So maybe that's a good sign when we get him going. He gets hot.
Schwarber's been on this roll now for a few weeks, and we've been talking about grinding out at bats, getting on base. Is he capable of kind of putting together stretches like this where he can kind of carry?
Well, yeah. I mean, you saw it last year, right? All the home runs in that short period of time. When he's locked in, it's pretty special.
Do you think his emergence is maybe the biggest difference in this lineup over the month of June?
I think so, and Hoskins too. I mean, because those 2 guys at the top of the lineup, then you got Harp and Cassie and JT coming right behind him. Those guys getting on base and swinging the bat the way they are and grinding out at bats, seeing pitches, that just helps those other guys down the line. It just flows.
What was the biggest thing you liked about Wheeler tonight?
He threw strikes, he got ahead, he pounded the zone. He used his secondary stuff very well, I thought. It was will.
It looked like his velo was down a tick.
A little bit, just a little
Was
bit.
that maybe just because of the big lead and the adrenaline, or?
No, I don't know. It might be just he's working on 4 days rest, and we've been grinding on him a little bit.
Okay.
Now he gets an extra day, so we'll see how it goes there. But it might have been down just a little bit, but nothing alarming.
My goodness, what a season. National League home run leaders. He's tied with Pete Alonso and Austin Riley, 18 dingers.
That's impressive. It really is impressive. I mean, I know his batting average numbers aren't great, but you don't pay him for average. You pay him to do this. You pay him to hit home runs and pick up some RBIs, and he's doing both of those things. And he's likable. You heard him after the ball game saying, "Yeah, you know what? I've been through this before, so I know what I'm doing. I've been through this before." And he's absolutely right. When you've been through something on the field before, you get over it at some point. And he knew at some point things were going to go in his favor, and it's happening.
Yeah.
In a big way.
NL Player of the Month last June. What do you think is going to happen this June? Here's Kyle Schwarber in the clubhouse.
In June.
I guess, right? But, I mean, consistent work, things like that, right? It's, like I said, not foreign to starting slow or anything like that. It's just got to keep working, right? You got to keep, coming up with the consistent work in the cage and trust yourself, coming in being the same guy and trusting the guy, in front of you, behind you, and things will happen. And we're playing all really good baseball right now, so just got to be able to keep the same attitude we got right now and go from there.
They open the door for you guys there with the 2-out error, and you guys don't just walk to the door. I mean, you put up 7 runs, and what can that do?
Yeah, I mean that's big, right? That when that's what good teams will do. Jumping on mistakes, and especially once you start getting to that latter part of the year where things are in crunch time or you're in the postseason, whatever it is, that you have to be able to jump on mistakes. And I mean, we did it tonight. We put up 7 with 2 outs. It was really cool to see.
Do you think you guys almost made a statement tonight because they're a struggling team? Human nature, struggling team. It's important to come to really lean on them. Not take them lightly and kind of
Yeah. I mean, you look over that team and it's a good offense, right? There's good offense, there's good pitching over there still. That just because the record is what it is, it doesn't reflect that there's still not good players over there, right? There's good players over there, and they're in the big leagues for a reason. And we still have to go out there and do what we need to do and execute what we want to do. And we're going to have to take the result, win or loss. And we did a really good job tonight of, like we said, jumping on that mistake and then not letting the gas pedal up. Wheels did a heck of a job, and Bullpen came in and got the outs. It was awesome.
Castellanos maybe that might be the biggest thing that comes out of this year.
Yeah, I mean,
He's feeling good about himself.
Yeah, Nick, I see the work that he puts in every single day. That the guy is, he's a pro, he's a hitter, and you're not going to see. I bet $1 that you're not going to see what you saw. That for the majority of the year, right? That, don't get me wrong, hitters go through slumps and things like that, right? It just happens. But the way that he works and the way that all of our guys work, we'll all come out on the other side of it.
Kyle Schwarber, one half of the Wright brothers. Balls flying out. I mean, they are airborne, man.